Hey guys, I'm finally back making another video. I sorry. I've just been kind of busy and also just kind of tired and not really feeling like it. Plus, I don't really like making videos when my boyfriend is here and he is on spring break this week, so because he is in school still. So, anyway, so yes, I finally had surgery. I'll just kind of give you like a rundown of everything that's happened over the past 2 weeks or 2.5 weeks, because it's kind of been a lot. So I went, the night before my surgery, I got a call from the hospital asking me if I could come in at 6 a.m. instead of 11 a.m. And, so I was like, well, I can't make it by 6, mostly because I didn't want to. And so I got there at like 7:30, and they were all like, oh my god, why weren't you here at 6? And I was like, I told the lady yesterday I couldn't come until 7:30, so then everything was really rushed, which actually helped because from a lot of the things I've heard, when you get there, there's kind of a lot of like waiting and sitting around, so it kind of really helped with my helped with my anxiety, to have everything rushed because I didn't have to sit and wait and think ever. You know, it was just really quick. They took me back. I just had to register. They took me back. I can't even remember. It was all so quick. They took me back into this one room. They weighed me. They did something else. Then they took me back into another room. They put my IV in. And then my dad and my boyfriend came back and said goodbye, and then I walked back into the operating room and I laid down on the table all by myself, and then they started asking me questions. You know, they gave me the medicine to put me to sleep, the anesthesia or whatever, and then they just started asking me questions, and I'm sure that they love that because I bet it gets really entertaining sometimes. But I remember like 90% of well, I mean, it was what I thought was 90%, who knows, of what happened. They were asking just really like small talk questions, and I don't really like small talk, and I'm really awkward, so I didn't really have anything to say, so I had really short answers. So I kind of remember just like, I had nothing else to say, so I just stopped talking, and then next thing I know, I woke up in another room. The hospital was at full capacity, the wing that I needed to be in. Sorry, my chair is extra squeaky today. You better not fall over. And, sorry. So I had to wait in the recovery room for much longer than normal. I was there for like 5 hours. My surgery took about 3.5 or 4 hours. And I was in the recovery room for like probably 5 hours. And then when I finally went up to the other room, it was a lot better. It was still like, it's not the most beautiful hospital in the world. It's not wonderful and lovely, but you know, the care team was very good, and I guess that's really what counts. But what else? While I was there, they just pretty much, because I got into recovery so late, they were kind of lenient with me, or because I got out of recovery so late, they were a little lenient with me. If I had gotten out of recovery an hour after, like I was supposed to, then I would have been walking all around that day, and they would have had me do a lot more things. But instead, I just kind of got to go back to my room. I chose to walk at one point because I heard that was supposed to help with recovery, and that like literally like 10 people told me that every step you take makes you feel better, and I didn't feel that way at all. To me, walking was like, what am I doing? It didn't hurt, but it didn't help. Like, I didn't feel better after I walked. I didn't have any, I had a really hard time. Like, you're not technically supposed to leave the hospital until you pass gas, and I didn't. But I was there overnight. And the next morning they did have me walk a little. They gave me broth and a popsicle that tasted like medicine, and Jello that was really disgusting, and the broth is like from a packet that they just mix with water. Everything was foul. I didn't really eat anything. I just stuck to water. And then I was kind of eager to get out of there just because I don't know, I just kind of wanted to leave. And I thought everything was kind of okay, whatever, so I left that day. I went home, and I could not tolerate my pain medication. It was disgusting. It's liquid Tylenol 3 or 4 or whatever the Tylenol with codeine is. And it tasted so bad to me that when I would drink it, it would just come right back up. Like, I wasn't even really throwing up. It was like, just like regurgitating. It was just like, okay, here you go. And so I couldn't tolerate my pain medication, so I was in a lot of pain, and I couldn't drink any water because I was in a lot of pain. So I had to go back to the hospital. But because I needed to go see those same people again, because I wanted to make sure everything was okay, I had to go back to that hospital. Now, mind you, there are like 7 hospitals from my house on the way to the hospital I needed to be at. So we finally get there, and they tell me I have to go to the emergency room in order to be admitted back into that whatever. So it was like, whatever. So I go to the emergency room, and I'm trying to sit in this one area where no one's sitting, and there's no one else over there. It's not like there's employees there or anything. It's just like this extra little space of chairs. And I got told that I can't sit there anymore. And mind you, I'm sitting there crying because I'm in a lot of pain. I'm really thirsty. And every time I try and drink water, someone comes up to me and tells me not to drink water because I'm not supposed to drink until the nurse or the doctor sees me. And I was like, okay, well, I'm severely dehydrated. I haven't had anything to drink in 3 days. I just had major surgery on my stomach, and I'm supposed to be drinking. And they were like, no. And I get it, because, like, what if there's a leak or something, blah, blah, blah. But like, I knew what my problem was. I knew that I was just in pain because I couldn't tolerate the pain medication, and that was it. Like, I knew. So it really bothered me. But then someone comes up to me and tells me, you can't sit here, you need to go sit over there. And I was like, why? And she was like, well, this is for people who are registering, and you're already registered, aren't you? And I was like, well, yeah, but everyone over there is really sick. Like, there was a woman who walked past me and threw up. She stopped next to me as if we were in a movie. She walks past and stops next to me and throws up in a bag. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, did you have to stop here? I'm not actually sick. And if I get sick, it will cause a lot of problems. So I really don't want to be surrounded by these sick people. So I was in the waiting room of the emergency room for 4 hours before they finally called me back. And then I went into a room that was like the size of the room I'm in, which I'm not going to show you because it's really messy, but just trust me, it's really small. I mean, it's not that small, but it's like pretty small. And it was like an elementary school nurse's office. Like, it was so tiny, and it was just curtained off little sections of a bed, and then like 1 square foot for you to stand in order to get on the bed. And so my boyfriend is obviously with me because I can't drive, and he's sitting in the little tiny chair that they have next to the bed, but then the guy in the room next to us is in a wheelchair, and the wheelchair is protruding into the space. So then my boyfriend is trapped in his chair because if I'm laying down and I reach my arm over, I can touch this other guy's wheelchair. And so my boyfriend's like sitting there, and I'm like, oh my God, and I really had to go pee, but I can't, like, they hooked me up to fluids, thank God, finally. They hooked me up to fluids and gave me some pain meds, and I still have my drain and everything. And so I have to pee, but I'm supposed to be measuring my pee, so I'm like, I don't really know what I'm supposed to do. I guess I'll just pee and like count the seconds. I have no idea. So I had to wait until the guy in the wheelchair, because I didn't want to be rude. Obviously, he can't control that he's in a wheelchair. And so we had to wait until he was discharged, which was an hour and a half after he got there. And I could hear everything. I mean, it's just curtains. And then outside the curtains in front of me, the nurses, 4 of them, are complaining about how much they hate their job and blah, blah, blah. And some alarm goes off, and it was like code blah. And they're like, oh, and you could hear people running, like as if like that's the code that means someone's dying. And a nurse ducks into the room I'm in and goes, I'm going to hide in here because I really don't like dealing with this, and no one can see in here. So let's just stay in here. And the other guy was like, yeah, I totally feel you. He's like, I hate dealing with that stuff. Like, really? Ugh, it's just so annoying. And I'm like, what? These are the people who are taking care of me right now? Like, are you kidding me? So anyway, I finally get up to go to the bathroom, and the bathroom is disgusting. I mean, it looks like it would be a public bathroom, like just some random bathroom stall in the middle of Brooklyn. Like, it was so, like, it was so gross. I'm just thinking that maybe Brooklyn wasn't a good idea to say. Maybe, like, Detroit. Okay, you get it. It was really gross. There was pee all over the floor. And there was, the handle to the hot water was broken off. And so you can't wash your hands with warm water. You only have the option of cold water. But the soap dispenser looks like someone threw up on it, so you don't even really want soap. And the toilet is separating away from the wall, and so when you sit down, it like creaks forward a little. And it was just so unbelievably disgusting. There were like smears all over the wall. Like I could not even believe that was in a freaking hospital. So then I have to wait there. I got there at 11 a.m. And I wasn't actually moved I was like submitted or whatever the word is, admitted to be moved upstairs at 20 minutes after I finally got back into the emergency room. And because they had to wait until someone was discharged because it was at full capacity again, I sat there until 9:30 at night. And finally at 9:30 at night, I was able to be moved upstairs and everything was good and I was happy and they were letting me drink my own water and they didn't want to give me any more fluids. They just wanted to make sure I could handle everything on my own. They gave me a different type of pain medication. While I was in the ER, my surgeon did come to see me, as well as the physician's assistant, and they were both very friendly, and they gave me the opportunity to stay the night if I wanted to. And I did, because I was kind of scared at that point. Hi, kitty. And so we get upstairs and everything's going well and, I'm fine and I'm able to tolerate my pain medication. And at about 11 o'clock, the power goes out. And thank God my bed was in a comfortable position because the power didn't turn back on until 4:30 in the morning. So that was cool. Really just awesome. So I was a little discouraged by that. Like really, like, what is happening to me? Why is this my life? Like, what the hell? Supposedly it was a scheduled outage, but if I were a nurse working with people who just came out of surgery and things like that on that floor, and I knew that there was going to be a scheduled power outage in the wing of that hospital, which seems wrong, I would go around and tell everybody, hey, there's going to be a power outage temporarily. Make sure your bed is in a comfortable position. And by the way, don't be scared. You're not going to die. So that was fun. Yeah. So then the next morning I went home. I went home around 2 o'clock the next day. I spoke with my surgeon. She wasn't able to come in, but that's fine. I spoke with my surgeon and everything was going well, so blah, blah, blah. I went home. So then a week later, I go to get my drain taken out, and he takes it out, and immediately under one of my incisions, I start bruising. And I was like, maybe that was there, maybe it wasn't, because I did have some minor bruises. But I didn't really think much of it, because the drain coming out, by the way, felt really weird. Like everyone was like, oh, you can't feel it. I felt every inch of it moving through my body. It was 13 inches long inside of my body. Oh my God, it was so gross. But anyway, so I was like, wow, whatever. So then when I get home from getting my drain removed, I got my drain removed I got there at 12, so it probably got removed at like 12:30. I get home, it's 3 o'clock, and I'm like, wow, that's a huge bruise. And then I circle it at 4 o'clock, because I'm like, I think it's growing. And then at 7 o'clock, it's gigantic. So, this is even 2 days after. So, I don't know if I have like a more accurate picture, but, so I called the physician's assistant because my surgeon was out of the office. So I called him and I was like, something's up. And so he was like, okay, well, in the morning, let me know if it's warm, if it's still getting worse. So I call him in the morning and I'm like, yeah, it is kind of warm. So I had to go back to the hospital. This time, luckily, I didn't have to check into the emergency room, and I was just able to go right up there. And he was like, oh, well, it might be an infection. It might be a hematoma, which I kept calling hemoglobin earlier, but that's not the right word. I don't even know what that means. And so he numbs it a little bit, and then he takes these big syringes, they're empty, and just like pulls shit out of it. Thankfully, it was all blood, which sounds disgusting, but it was a hematoma. And so it was just a collection of old blood or something, but it didn't hurt at all. But it caused this amazingly gigantic bruise. And so I don't know if you can even like see the screen, but this is on my Instagram. So if you follow me on Instagram, you'll see it. But it was like this gigantic bruise, and he was just like, meh, okay, you're done, you're good. It's just blood. You just have to wait. So that was cool. It is gone now, though. It is, like, the bruise is all the way gone. I don't know if you could see that or not. Hopefully not. I'm not wearing pants. So, yeah, that was my experience. So then I came home and, everything's been okay. My surgeon did clear me to eat applesauce before a couple of the other people in my group just because of the type of pain medication I was taking. So applesauce has been going down really well. I've had a really hard time with Premier protein shakes. I cannot drink them anymore. They make me like just sick. I don't know if it's because I'm sick of them or what, but they like literally do make me physically ill. So I think probably they're just gross. I do have this now. It's called Oh Yeah, which is a terrible name, but whatever. It's a little bit bigger than the 11 ounce, whatchamacallit. This is 14 ounces. It's 32 grams of protein. This one's cookies and cream. It tastes pretty good. The vanilla is also really good. It's not as thick as Premier Protein's vanilla. Sorry, I can't even talk. So it tastes, like, to me, it tastes a little bit better because the other one's like, ugh. I can't do Jell-O. I made all this Jell-O thinking, okay, after surgery I'm going to want just anything at all. So I made a freaking ton of Jell-O. I can't stand it. I think Jell-O is disgusting. So really I've just been eating, because I have 3 weeks of liquids post-op, unlike a lot of people. So really I've just been doing, like soup and stuff, and soup broths, and water, and Powerade, and all that crap, and applesauce. And I don't know if there's anything else I want to update you guys on, like at the moment, immediately. I do want to say that since surgery, here's all the stats you're probably looking for. Since surgery, today, by the way, is my 2 week, whatever. I'm 2 weeks post-op. So, I am down only 9.8 pounds, which is better than nothing, and I'll totally freaking take it. But the reason it's so low, and you probably won't experience this if you're having surgery anytime soon, or if you are whatever, the only reason that mine is so low is because I wound up getting so many fluids. I got 3 bags of fluids originally post-op, and that swelled me right on up, and I was about 8 pounds over my, like, the weight going in. So within the same day, all the fluids built up to 8 pounds or whatever. And then I went home and I started losing those, the water weight. And then I went back to the hospital and I got 2 more bags of fluids. So mine's really kind of been stalled because of all the fluids. I'm not counting the fluids. I know a lot of people count fluids as part of their total loss. But I don't, because I'm really looking to lose fat, and like that water to me is not real weight. Like, it's just liquid and it just comes right out in my pee. And I lost that water weight very quickly. So I don't think that it is fair to count the water weight